The store procs. Yeah, the store procs that would be available are. Let's actually look for something that already exists. So, show tables. So, information schema, by the way, actually stores all the metadata for the MySQL instance. Okay. Uh, so anything such as say, like user privileges or what else? Yeah, user privileges, any kind of functions, any kind of procedures, any kind of tables. I mean, as an example, so if we say select star from tables, as an example, let's do limit 10. See, we'll actually have a list of all the tables, and somewhere, yeah, using table schema, where table schema is equal to employees. See, so at that point we actually get to take a look at all the what is it, all the tables that are in a given database. Okay. So the other thing that I actually wanted to take a look at was all the procedures that are actually in this database. Okay, so if we cannot find them that way, let's actually use this way. I guess it'll be store procedure status. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it looks like there is one stored proc. Okay. Oh, P1. Yeah. Okay. Yesterday, this is the one that I created. Okay. So never mind. Okay. So let me actually go in and so since we do not have any custom, I won't say custom, but system procedures, let's actually build our custom procedures. Okay. So let's say use online purchases. Okay. Let's say show tables. Okay. So let's just select star from users. Okay, so there are three rows, right? Let's just select star from users where id is equal to 1. Okay. So what happens here is whenever I actually am running the query, okay, this query has to be compiled and after that the query has to be executed. Okay, which actually means that we are following the two-step process. Okay. So to avoid these two steps, what we have are something fancy called store procedures. Okay, so the way store procedures work are we actually take a set of operations like a single operation or multiple operations and we actually stuff it into something called a store procedure and we would actually say create this store procedure for once. Okay, so at that point what happens is the procedure is created. Okay, and whatever is inside the procedure is compiled at once. Okay, so from the next time what happens is we would only what is it we would only execute it. So let's actually avoid using the primary key. Let's actually try something like this where f name is equal to, or let's actually add a wildcard to make it worse. Okay, like that. Okay, so it took 0.05 seconds. So after that it looks like it actually got cached. Let's actually do this show variables. Okay, so we actually have a bunch of variables here. So let's actually do show variables like cache. Yeah, see, okay, so we actually hmm, have query cache turned on. So that's why the queries are being cached. And when I actually do this another time, the data is actually coming out of the memory. But real time, it is not very often where you would actually be caching every query we would actually say that there would be like a minimum limit where the query has to at least bring around, say, like half MB or 1 MB or sometimes 10 MB or 20 MB or 50 MB of data before we start caching the data. But never mind. So long story short, the reason that we actually build stored procedures are to avoid multiple compilations. So now let's actually begin with a stored procedure. Okay, so before we get there, let's actually look at the delimiter, the concept of delimiter. Okay, so when I say select star from users, pay attention, I'm actually hitting enter. Okay, at that point, unless I put in a semicolon, the statement would not terminate, and MySQL is very particular about delimiters. So, and given that a procedure is multi lines, or like is going to be multiple lines, we'll have to make sure that we are not going to use semicolon on every line. The reason being, at that point, every line is at that point would be considered as a separate statement. So to avoid that, we'll actually come up with a, I won't say we would come up with a concept, but we would actually be overwriting the delimiter. That's it. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll say delimiter is something like that. Okay, dollar dollar, and then the syntax would be create procedure, um, get users. So yeah, so a procedure or any programming code, any functional code in SQL, irrespective of whatever it is, PL SQL or T SQL or the SQL that runs in MySQL, will actually use something called begin. Okay, then we would say select star from users, which is our query, and then we'll actually end it, and we'll have to make sure that since the proc is ending, the procedure is ending here, we'll have to make sure that we end it with the new delimiter. Okay, so let me actually try and see what happens here. Ah, nice, it actually worked. So let's actually run the proc. So for running the proc, if it were SQL Server, it would actually be we would say execute or exec. But in MySQL, we I think we actually use call. So let's actually call the MySQL. Oh, you know what? I'll have to override the delimiter, right? So I'll have to do that. Now I get the data, okay, but I'll have to make sure that the delimiter is semicolon. Okay, so that is how simple store procedures are. Okay, the first step is going to be delimiter. The second step is going to be we'll have to give in the store procedure. I mean, we would say create procedure, procedure name. Let's actually go to strip so that I can actually write this down. Oh, strip. Yeah. So we'll always begin with by overriding the delimiter. We could say delimiter dollar dollar, or we could say delimiter slash or slash slash or whatever it is. Okay, delimiter is just to overwrite semicolon with the new thing. Okay, then yeah, and again there is a reason why we wouldn't use a single dollar. Now that I've mentioned that, I kind of recollected. See, dollar could be um, part of a string, or say like a slash could be part of a string. So it is always it is always suggested to use two characters. Okay, so that what is it? We wouldn't run through these characters in the query, so that it doesn't screw the query up. Okay, so once we say delimiter dollar dollar, we would begin with create procedure. Let's say we'll give procedure name, and then there are no square brackets or there are no curly braces or anything. All you will do is we would actually say that the procedure begins here, okay, and then we would give in SQL statements, okay, and once we are sure that the SQL statements are done, we would say end without a space. We would give in the delimiter. I've never tried it with the space. Let's probably try it, okay, but I've actually played it safe by keeping them close. So I'll actually try it today and see what happens. Then once we have compiled the procedure, we would actually switch the delimiter back to semicolon. Yeah, we would need a space here, and to make a call or like to invoke a procedure, we would say call procedure name. So simple. Okay, so let me ask if there are any questions here. Perfect. Since there are no questions, let's actually make the SQL query a little more complex, which is like a bunch of joins, because select star from users is pretty simple, right? So let's actually come up with an interesting and like a tougher query. I'm actually trying to see. Okay, so it doesn't store my history. That's sad. So let's actually write the query. Oh man, it'll be a long query. Should have probably saved that query yesterday. So let's say select show tables. Now we have 5 tables, right? So let's say select star from users u inner join orders users ou users orders uo on u dot id is equal to uo dot user id inner join orders o on o dot id is equal to uo dot order id inner join orders products op on yeah o dot id is equal to op dot product product id in join or products in join products p on op dot product id is equal to p dot id. Let's actually run this command and see what. Okay, nice, it worked. Okay, yeah, so it actually works. Now let's actually use a like a quick table alias to avoid other nonsense that we see. See, because here we can actually see a lot of redundancies. Let's actually take that out. Let's say f name, last name, address, quantity, date of purchase, or date of purchase, and I'll say p dot name as product name. And here I'll have to make sure that I give in the table alias. So date is going to be order dot date, order dot quantity, users dot address, users dot last name, users dot first name. Okay, better. Okay, now let's also say order by mm, uh, yeah, let's actually order it by first name, last name. Okay, let's actually copy this and let us say delimiter $$ again. Let's say create procedure get um so let's actually say, yeah, let's keep it simple. Let's say get total info begin. I hope I did not. Okay, nice. And let's say end $. Okay, so the procedure is done. Okay, it's good. Now, okay, so we'll have to overwrite the delimiter thing again. Now let's say get total info. So see, from from the beginning, it's actually already compiled. So it's already 0 seconds. Okay,
So
and so on.
basically, call here is
What?
a keyword you're using to call the procedure.
Yeah. So I mean, if you have experience with say like T-SQL or PL/SQL, we would actually use the keyword exec or for execute, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess people at MySQL wanted to I guess look like originals, and they actually went with call. That's it. It really, I mean, doesn't make a big difference because both of them are 4 letters. So I don't know what were they aiming for. Anyways, so yeah, so that is how you'll actually write a.
Okay, so basically you made a
Yeah, Munjal, go ahead.
okay, so basically you made a procedure to join those tables, right? That's what you
Right.
did.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Now, now that we have made a bunch of procedures, let's actually run the procedures command and see if we actually take, like, if we actually get the procedures that we have created. So the command was show procedure status. Okay, nice. Okay, so we actually are getting our procedures, right? Get total info and get users. Now you've actually had what is it? You have actually had enough of the store procedure, so you want to get rid of it. What would you do? You can, I'm guessing you can actually do drop proc get users. Okay, so it probably is get drop procedure. Okay, so it's great get procedure. Let's actually scroll up for 1 second. Mm, okay, so it has to be drop procedure. Okay, so yeah, so this is, so like these are the two basic things about what is it, coming up uh, with a with a procedure. Right now, let's actually look at something a little more interesting. Now what we have was, or like what we had was get users, right? So what was get users? We will say select star from users, right? Now let's actually make it a little more interesting, and let's say that, hang on, I actually have 10 billion users and I cannot really do something like that. What I'll have to do is I'll say where, and I'll use the primary key for indexing purposes, and I would actually say where id is equal to um what is it, where id is equal to 1, and at that point I actually want the data to be displayed. Okay, so how how can that be done? Okay, so let's actually look at this and see how that is done. I guess here I'm guessing that I'll have to use variables. Okay, so before we go to variables, let's actually quickly get rid of this guy and let's write a new thing. Okay, so in here there are two things. Okay, so the first thing that we'll have to understand is we actually are passing in excuse me, we actually are passing in what is it, we actually are passing in a variable. Okay, so it has to be create procedure, procedure name, and it should be in let's actually check MySQL documentation, MySQL stored proc. Yeah, I mean this is going to be an eyesore when the MySQL documentation is very hard. Ah, so let's say scroll down. Stored routine syntax. See, it's ridiculous. All I want to check is, yeah, is this thing. It actually makes me go through 5 pages. So now we are saying create procedure. Okay, procedure name. Okay, and then we are saying proc parameters. Okay, so we have in, out, and in out. Okay, makes sense. And we would say parameter type. Okay, so fair enough. Let's scroll down. Routine body valid SQL routine statement. So let's actually look at variables first. Okay, because sometimes variables can be a little tricky. Let's say declare a or declare id is equal to 1. I can do that. You have error declare. Okay, so let's actually declare. See, but interestingly, I mean that is how we would do that inside um, so that is how you would do that inside a store procedure. Let's say declare variable MySQL. Yeah, so local variable syntax. Yeah, so see that's what I've said, no? Oh, so there is no equal to. Okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So it's a declare ID int. Did I see default? Yeah, default 1. No, that did not work out. Let's go back. So the statement declares, oh, within store programs. Okay, so we cannot actually have a variable outside stored programs. Okay, now that sucks. See, the other thing is, let's look at scope. The scope of the variable, yeah, is okay. It's between begin and end. Fair enough. Oh, there we go. X name is X name. Okay. Okay. See. Okay. It's nice that we already found one of these. It's good. Okay. So now let's actually apply this thing. Okay. In our program. Okay. See, technically, I don't know why this guy is using X here and he's not using X here. What now, man? Let's actually clean it up and let's say we'll obviously begin with delimiter. let's say dollar dollar, and then we would say create procedure, um, get user by id. So in is not actually what is it required, but I actually like it because for out and in out we have to mention the return type or the type. So let me actually take a quick, yeah, I guess we wouldn't have to mention anything else. So let's say user id, okay, is integer, okay, begin, let's just select star from users where id is equal to user id, let's say end. Oh yeah, dollar dollar. Oh nice, looks like it's working. So now let's actually say get user by id. In here we'll have to pass in the id. Let's see what happens. Oh, dollar dollar. Okay, so we actually are getting the data. Okay. Damn it, delimiter. Yeah, so that is how we would actually uh, yeah, that is how we'll actually send data in and fetch the data. Do you all have any questions here?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, again, trust me. I mean, I don't know if it looks easy, but it's not really easy. Trust me.
I
There are
know
subtle
that.
things. I mean, one example here is the delimiter. Okay. There are subtle things which actually can create havoc. So make sure that you all observe it, and bigger than that, make sure that you all go back and try them out. If not, man, it will actually make life very hard.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
When you say delimiter dollar dollar,
Yeah.
and then again close it off with a dollar dollar. When you say call get user by ID,
Right. Right.
uh, I mean, what is the circumstances under which your dollar dollar? I mean, you won't get a new line. Do you understand? Does it make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So the problem here was I actually said that the delimiter was dollar dollar, right?
Okay.
But here I actually terminated with the semicolon. So semicolon is no longer a valid delimiter. That's why I got a new line. So I had to do a
Uh,
dollar dollar to terminate the statement. Once the
I
statement was terminated, it got executed.
okay.
I mean, does that make
Yeah,
sense? Yeah.
but you closed. Okay, you said dollar dollar delimiter. Then you again closed it with dollar dollar. Then
Yeah.
again, when you said call get user by ID, when
Yeah.
you use call again, you need to use the delimiter to end it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not just call. I mean, even for select star. Okay. So as an examples, what happened? Okay. Select star from users, right? If I actually do this, if I actually hit enter, okay, nothing would happen unless I actually put in a delimiter. That is when the thing ends. See, that is what I'm saying. With MySQL, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a pain in the ass, but it's free. But so what are you gonna do? It's free, so I mean, it actually comes with own issues. I wouldn't say
Okay.
issues technically, but they call them the features, not technically issues, right?
All right.
Yeah, but I mean, all that I can tell you is, make sure that you all try it. And when I say try it, because if you all like skip this part and if somebody asks you to execute a stored proc, I mean, MySQL is very mean. Trust me, you'll actually end up as a laughing stock. I mean, I'm not kidding here. I've actually had an experience where one of the poor guys who actually came for an interview had to do one of these things, and Yeah, MySQL is a very mean database. Trust me. So yeah. So keep that in mind and
Do
make sure.
people actually use MySQL at an enterprise level?
Of course. I
Really?
mean, again, what exactly is enterprise level? I mean, I've actually had an issue with that word because people say that people never use Java, people only use Java at enterprise level or .NET at enterprise level, but that's not really true. Yeah, I mean, if it's an application, fair enough, people might, but if it is just anything else, say like a dashboard or a website, yeah,
Okay.
people use. I mean, it's free, right? It's free.
Okay.
So, well, I mean, like people, there are very few companies which would say that I would pay for something. As an example, Apple. Okay, so main or most of their stuff is actually on a MySQL database. I mean, iTunes
Okay.
is actually powered by MySQL. Twitter is actually powered by MySQL. Facebook originally was powered by MySQL. Then they
But
shifted to Cassandra.
but do they have the support MySQL?
I mean, again, when you actually get to an enterprise level, you really wouldn't need support, right? I mean, see again, what exactly is MySQL? MySQL is a bunch of programs that were written in C and C++, right? So
Yeah.
you at an enterprise level, say for Apple, okay, iTunes is built on Objective C, okay. So they already have tweaked it. I mean, even people at Twitter have tweaked MySQL to fit
Okay.
their thing. Yeah. So when you go
Okay.
to the real enterprise level, like the big enterprises, you actually they download the source code. I mean, when we are saying lamp install, okay, or apt get install MySQL, at that point we are actually downloading the repository and we are installing it. What they would do is they would actually download the repository and they would actually start like either refactoring the code or like removing code or adding code or doing whatever they want to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, be it
So basically they form their own support. Okay.
yeah, exactly. So basically, what they would do is there would be like a bunch of C programmers who would probably sit with a bunch of DBAs, okay, and they would actually start doing whatever they want to do. Yeah, I mean same
Okay.
with MongoDB too, because originally MongoDB was developed as a test program, but now I mean like companies say like Foursquare and Intuit, okay. So Foursquare is a very big company, Craigslist for that matter. They all have actually taken up MongoDB and they're actually making tweaks here and there and they push their code up to GitHub.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, enterprise level or not enterprise level, people use MySQL. And since you all are actually stuck with PHP, make sure that you all have a minimum knowledge of how to compile
Right.
a stored proc and to debug a stored proc when it's broken. So these are two big things that can get you. Okay, so what we have seen until here is passing the data in. Okay, so it's pretty simple, right? Now let's actually mm, yeah, let's actually say, and given that we're working on stored procs, let's actually make it a little complex. Okay, so uh let's close this out. Let's actually keep this open. This is helpful. And also let me go back one step. uh, go back, go back. No. Create procedure. Okay, so I'll actually send you all this file just for reference. Okay, go through. I mean, the documentation is good, but my only complaint would be it's not fast, it's not quick. So if you all take a little time, say like a few minutes, you'll be able to figure out what is the like how it is structured. Okay, so let's actually delimiter. Okay, let's say $. Now let's actually now see, now again what we have done in PHP. Okay, we have actually made sure that we have conditionals in there. Okay, and sometimes the data that's actually coming in, you never know what is the data that's coming in, right? It could be anything. As an example, ID. Okay, so let's actually break this. Okay, so let's say call get user by id and let's say 0. Okay, see, you already are breaking it. Okay, and say let's say get user 4. See, okay, I mean id 4 might exist. Okay, but id 0 will never exist, right? So let's actually tweak it a little bit. Let's actually drop the procedure. uh, Drop procedure get user by id, and this one would actually serve two purposes. One is to put in extra checks, and obviously the other one is syntactically, where we are actually checking to see if the if this actually exists. Okay, I mean if the what is it, yeah, I mean we can syntactically take a look at how conditionals are applied in MySQL. Okay, let's go to Shrib for a second. So let's actually
Okay,
mock up.
this might be a very silly question, but I do have one.
Yeah,
Once you wrote the once you stored the procedure and everything is done, how do you open it back to edit it?
to edit it. Okay,
Yeah.
so one thing, we'll have to come out of that happy land. Okay, we actually live in the world of MySQL. Okay, so
No editing?
I I I think you can. Let's actually quickly check it out. Okay, what I would normally do is just store SQL files. Okay, and then run them directly. So at that point you wouldn't have to support, but I guess we can. Okay, so let's actually say export MySQL stored procedure, dumping MySQL services. See, Stack Overflow is pretty awesome. Yeah, see, show create procedure. Okay, so now let's say show procedure status. Now let's say show create procedure get use, no, get total info. You, yeah. So, oh boy. So this is the procedure. Okay. Now you want to edit it, right?
Yeah.
Let's copy this. Let's paste it here. So to edit anything, I mean, we have already seen the alter command. Oh, have you seen alter command by the way? Any
I know all
recollection?
the command, but I don't think we have.
Okay. So let's actually take a look at that first. Okay. So let's say show tables. Let's say select star from users. So we've already seen drop. Okay. But all, if we just want to add an extra column, okay, one way of adding an extra column is we'll drop the table and we'll create the whole thing again. The other way, which would actually help us avoid any kind of data loss, is going to be alter. Okay, so alter, the command is going to be alter table name. If you want to add a column, you just say add. I don't think we'll have to, so let's actually do add column. Let's say column name address 2. Let's give in varchar 20. Let's see what happens. That worked. Perfect. Okay. So this is the syntax. Okay. To actually add a column to the users table. Okay. Now, if we want to drop a column, I think we'll have to use the keyword remove. Let's actually try it. Remove column address 2. Okay, so that did not work. So let's actually replace remove with drop. I don't think it's drop, but let's try. Oh, it is drop. Okay, I'll take it back. So select stuff from users. Okay, so the data is still there. You are just removing or adding a column. Okay, so now let's actually implement the same thing for let's actually implement the same. What was I going to say? Yeah, let's actually implement the same thing for a stored procedure. Okay, so what we have here is an existing stored procedure. Okay, and that says oh yeah, now all that we'll have to do is we'll just say alter. That's it. Alter definer is so and so. We can actually remove that because we are still root, so we need not modify anything. And since we are not passing in any data, this is still going to be empty. And here let's actually remove order name order by. Okay, let's actually run this command and see what is the data that we are getting, so that we can verify that something actually happened. So okay, so we actually see John Doe here, and again John Doe here. Okay, but if you would actually, if we would have used order by f name last name, all the Johns would be ones, all the Johns with an extra O would be the second, and all the Seans would be at the end. Okay, so the pattern that we are looking for when we run the alter stored procedure is going to be this pattern, where data is, it looks like the data is ordered by date in an ascending order. If you all see, looks like the day, yeah, the data is ordered by, I mean, it's either ordered by date or it is ordered by the first letter in the product name. Okay, so no man, so let's actually implement this change. Okay, so obviously we'll have to do delimiter dollar dollar and dollar dollar, and again delimiter. Okay, let's copy this. Okay, let's actually paste it and see what happens. No, something happened. So what happened here was, just you have an error. What? Hmm. What? Did I spell something wrong or what? You have an error where? In your SQL syntax. Okay, check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL Server version here. Okay, so let's actually try this. Let's actually make it delimiter this one. Okay, let's actually get rid of these things and see if that makes a difference. And also at the same time, let's also verify the procedure MySQL. So okay, so that's all that I've said. Alter procedure proc name, and obviously then the statements. So let's actually run this again. Alter procedure name, and not that spaces would be an issue. um, let's actually take a look at create for 1 second. Create procedure, So interestingly, we don't have a routine body here, which probably might be the problem. Okay, so let's actually run this one last time, and if everything works as expected, I mean, if it fails, probably these parentheses, or like these I don't know what do you all call, I guess the parentheses, yeah, that's the problem. So let's actually try this real quick. So let's run it again. Yeah, that's the problem. Now let's get rid of this thing. Okay, let's actually run it again. Holy shit, again. So it looks like something else is wrong. Hmm. It says it's. Hmm.
The error says something your begin is wrong.
Right, right. But here, begin is the second line. Okay. And the first thing is get total info. So let's actually see if get total info actually exists. Delimiter. Okay. Ah, damn it. Delimiter. Okay. Now let's actually see show procedure status. Yeah, see, get total info actually exists. Hmm. No, I'm saying alter procedure. So let's actually take a look at an example that'll help us out. Alter procedure MySQL example. Okay, Stack Overflow. Ah, such a help. See this guy. see this guy says I found dropping and recreating as the easiest solution. Funny guy. That sometimes is true, you know. It actually is easier to drop rather than figure out what is the issue with that. Hmm. So alter procedure name. Where is the body? This guy. E- okay, so this you cannot change the procedure itself. Oh, that's dumb. So what I was saying was right. So you cannot actually edit it. So it says this statement changes the characteristics of an existing stored procedure. You cannot change the procedure itself with it. To do that, you need to delete the stored procedure with draw procedure and create a new procedure with create procedure. Hmm. Yeah. So the only way, Pooja, is technically you cannot use an alter. You'll have to drop it and you'll have to
Yeah.
recreate it.
Okay.
But to answer the original question that you had, if you want to take a look at um, the existing body, you have to do show create procedure, I guess. Procedure. Okay, so think it's show. Ah, dude, I kind of forget. Let's actually see if that's stored. Mm, yeah, show. Oh, it was right. So I just forgot to give the name. So it has to be this. Okay, so we'll say show create procedure, get total info to actually get the actual body. So once you have the body, you'll have to modify it, and then you'll actually say drop procedure name, and then you'll say create procedure. Okay. So by the way, it's actually 8:55. So let me actually ask you all if there are any questions at your end.
I'm good.
Yeah. So you all have 2 days now So again, once again, please make sure that you all try working on this stuff. uh, yeah, because I mean, at least the last two concepts mainly, the object oriented part and MySQL. Okay, so these both, I wouldn't say advanced, but are kind of considered to be intermediate stuff, and this is something that you all have to know. Okay, so I mean, would you need that once you get into the job? I don't know, it depends on the company, but I mean, again, it's like a GRE exam, right? You really don't use anything that you actually study for a GRE exam, right? All the verbal stuff and quant stuff, but you at least have to get through that to come to, or to get your masters. So make sure that you actually learn these to get through your interviews. Okay, so yeah, I mean, in the meantime, if there are any questions, shoot me an email. I'll make sure that I respond back and answer your questions, and I'll get this video up onto YouTube tonight, and I'll actually send the link over. And let me ask you if you all are having any issues with the YouTube links that I'm sending over. I'm actually checking them that they work, but I'm just making sure that you all are okay with the links. Any playback issues?
No.
Awesome. Okay,
All
so
right.
it's 8:57. So let's actually call it a day at this point. And the next session would be on Saturday, 1 p.m. EST.
All right. Thanks.
See
Bye.
you all on Saturday. Thank you, guys.